Welcome back inside our KDKA-TV studios. I'm Rich Walsh, and this is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. We have a big show for you tonight. We're talking about the Pirates and attendance and how they can win their fans back. Also, the Steelers and their backup quarterback situation and what Phil Mickelson was thinking at the U.S. Open. We have an all-star panel for you tonight from left to right on your screen. We have Colin Dunlap from the Fans Morning Show. Also, Ron Cook from the Post-Gazette. Also helps me out on the sports call sometimes. And Tim Benz from Trib Total Media. We're going to talk about the Pirates first tonight, and their attendance has been down. Clint Hurdle said today they still believe. They still believe in that locker room. Do you still believe, Colin Dunlap? They're 35-36 right now, under 500, and we're not halfway through the season.
I believe we're going to have a pretty predictable summer from here on out. They'll float around, they'll hang around, they'll be 7, 8, 9 games back when it's all said and done, and I believe this is a team that is a little bit below average. I said they'd be a 72-win team. I don't know if they'll dip that low, but they're not going to make – they'll end up being about equidistant from first place as they are to the Cincinnati Reds in last place. I think what we've seen is what we're going to get from the Pirates. I don't expect any surprises. They are what they are.
Yeah, I'm with you, Colin. The most surprising thing to me was they were as hot as they were to start the year. Maybe that was because of the teams that they played against. Other clubs had a tough time getting going and all that cold weather that they saw. The only thing surprising to me thus far about the Pirates is they got off to the fast start that they did. I don't think they're going to be that much above 500 again. If they get above 500 at all, it'll only be by a game or two. And I'm on board with your prediction. You said 72. I said 75. I bet they wind up right around there.
Yeah, I said 74 and adjusted a little bit after the hot start, and I don't think they're going to get it to where I adjusted. Too many young pitchers starting, and those guys don't progress in a straight upward line. And too many guys underachieving. Now, Polanco had a really big day today, but he's been obviously disappointing. So is Josh Bell. So is Vasquez. So is Jamison Tyone. So is Nova, although his last couple starts have been better. Too many of their guys they were counting on have underachieved, and they are what they are, right around 500, if not below.
So weather was a problem at the beginning of the season. Then they were the worst team in baseball there for a stretch for about a month, Ron. Attendance has been a big issue with this team, maybe even across Major League Baseball. They're down, 20 to 30% over at PNC Park. How does this team win the fans back? Can they even win the fans back this year?
Well, it's going to be difficult. Now, I don't even hear what did they have today?
23,000.
So they had 23, 27, and then 23 today. Actually, that's pretty good for them the way they've been going this season. You got to keep winning. You got to find out a way to win. And maybe if you're in position at the All-Star, not at the All-Star break, at the trade deadline, you make a deal and actually bring on some payroll. Maybe that'll make some fans sit up. But they're really up against it. And they didn't come out for the hot start to start, and now they've been playing horrible until the last couple days. I don't know that they're coming back this year.
Rich, I think what we're seeing right now is that people are actually not just talking, they're acting. And in so much as they're not boycotting, and people said, I'm going to boycott, I'm never going to go down there. I don't necessarily know if they're doing that, but maybe people who formerly went to 5 games are now just going to 1. Or people who went to 10 have only gone to 2. So that all adds up, and that's the diminishing returns, and that's what the Pirates have gotten to this point in the season. And people are free to make up their mind and free to make whatever decision they want to make, and they've obviously voted with their feet to this point.
Yeah, Rich, I think they get the fans back by doing exactly what Neil Huntington claimed they would do today, which is if they continue to win, they will add as opposed to subtract. And I think that was an effort to dismiss the report that came out earlier this weekend, which suggested that the Pirates were going to try to get rid of some people like Cervelli and Nova and Harrison. I don't think they'll ever do that, but there are 2 ways to get the fans back. Win and then add to that roster. As we just talked about, I don't think they're going to get good enough to be in that position where they feel like they will add, and if they were ever in a position to add just to get better, to try to win the fans back, would be this year. But what evidence do we have that they will actually do that?
Here's the thing, Tim. From a practical standpoint, isn't it best to exactly do what that report said?
Oh, at this point,
why not
yes.
just blow it up?
Because, like we just said, they're probably not going to be more than a 75-win team, so get rid of the spare
guys
parts.
That aren't going to be there next year. Mercer, for instance, and I love Jordy as a player, but he's not going to be here next year. Do you want to pay Josh Harrison $11 million or whatever? Cervelli,
yeah, even Cervelli with Diaz playing well now.
Ron, whenever McCutchen and Cole went out the door 4 run, there should have been a whole busload behind them.
Right. They tried to do it both ways. We're still going to compete. We're going to add these guys. And the guys they've added, Moran has been good.
Yes.
Musgrove not so good today, but he has shown some things.
Dickerson's been good.
Dickerson has been a steal. You get rid of Daniel Hudson and you get him. But
you can't live in both worlds, though. You've got to make a commitment on one side or the other, and they've tried to live in both worlds, and now here we sit.
Guys, I totally agree.
All the starters are young, and all the bullpen is young.
I totally agree with trying to blow everything up and just start over again. But how do they win the fans back? How do they even trust this organization?
Rich, what do you mean win them back? They're not going now.
Yeah. How can they trust them if they say they're going to blow it up and they're going to try to rebuild on this team? Even if they're a couple games over, they're not going to be buyers. They've never been buyers.
The biggest error that the Pirates front office made this past offseason was not just coming out like the New York Rangers did and said, we're blowing this up. It's a rebuilding year. Hey, listen, maybe you didn't like things in the past. We flubbed, we screwed up. Bear with us. We're going to blow it up and start over. Had they done that and been honest and said that and just come out, I think people would have respected them a little bit. But they tried to say, we're trying to win now. And they're marching out the guys they're marching out there in a 4-man rotation in the outfield. It doesn't work. They've tried to live in both worlds, and it is a fatal error.
Tim, is there any chance they'll be buyers?
No. I don't see that being the case.
Well, if they go 26-17 again, they might.
I mean, they were to somehow.
But they're not going to do that, I don't think.
They would have to somehow replicate what they did at the start of the year again over these next 6 weeks. I just don't see that happening. And if they do, I don't know really what they will probably have to buy starting pitching. That'd be the first thing they would buy, right? Is starting pitching
and bullpen.
Do we see them going out and buying starting pitching?
Especially with a team like the Yankees looking to get somebody. They're flat out saying we're going to add a pitcher to our team. You think they'd be able to outbid the Pirates?
No.
I would think so.
Well, if they're going to turn it around, they have to do it at this point in the season. They had a 10-game homestand, 20-29 at home. So if they're going to turn things around, now is the time to do it. They just took 2 of 3 against the Reds. It's the first winning series in a long time. Well, when an owner puts together the perfect team, they know it will be a winner. The must be how Rob Cochran feels about number 1 Cochran Nissan. Number 1 Cochran just acquired Pittsburgh East Nissan and West Hills Nissan, giving them 3 local Nissan stores and Pittsburgh's first ever Nissan Super Group. The triple grand opening event is going on now with the 3 times the pricing power, 3 times the inventory. Number 1 Cochran Nissan, Monroeville, West Hills, and South Hills. Go check them out. And the number 1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be right back.
The number 1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by number 1 Cochran, Go One Better, and by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.